So my buddy Nico has just done his yearly watch tier video where he ranks watch brands, and then he's done an all right job. He's missed quite a few off, and he's got quite a few wrong.
Absolute disgrace.
We can get opinions wrong, can't we? This is my watch tier video. So my background is in HR, and so rather than using Nico's ranking of Hublot, I think, to God's tier, I thought I'd do a performance review. The lowest point, I've got disciplinary, which essentially means that the brand is dying and you either need to sort your stuff out or you are gonna be gone. Next up we got from that is needs improvement. Essentially just means that the brand is going in the wrong direction and needs to change direction, or they're gonna end up in a disciplinary. Next up from that, we've got meets expectations. So essentially the brand is doing what we expect it to do. Next up, we've got exceeds expectations. So essentially there's something about them that really is pushing forward. At the top, we have outstanding. So the brand is just absolutely kicking ass and there's not much that we can criticize from there. Now, my highest ranking, I feel like this is the highest accolade that any of us could give any brand, is would we actually buy it? Would we put our money where our mouth is? I've got, I think, 50 brands here all over the shop. So I've got micro brands, I've got value brands, and then I've got crazy horology brands. Let's start off with the first one, and that is Tag Heuer. And I guess that's a bit of a talking point, because Tag Heuer, I feel like they got a little bit lost for quite a few years, maybe even a decade. But I do feel like they are getting back on track. Are they quite meeting expectations? The designs and the focus that they're doing, especially with the glass box stuff, is gorgeous. Yeah, I certainly wouldn't buy them right now, but Tag Heuer, I think they're doing some really cool stuff. Frederic Constant, now that's an interesting one. So my challenge is around brands who have an amazing value proposition, but then they also have amazing high-end stuff. I feel like that muddies the water. It's kind of like Seiko and Grand Seiko. It's like, what are you focusing on? I feel like Frederic Constant creates stunning watches that are at a really good price point, but then you've also got even more stunning watches, which are more horology. I kind of feel like they're exceeding expectations. Yeah, they're absolutely kicking ass. G-Shock, there's a lot of love for G-Shock, and rightly so. They're good, fun watches. They're nice and colorful, and they kind of go across the watch world and beyond into the fashion world. And so I feel like they're loved from so many different angles. They're doing the G-Shock thing, and that's absolutely fine. This is tiny. This is Chopard. I absolutely love Chopard. I actually ranked one of their watches my watch of Dubai Watch Week. Absolutely gorgeous little thing. Blooming expensive. I think it was about 60 grand. Absolutely stunning. Baltic are kicking ass. They have some absolutely stunning watches, and at a really fair price point. And I feel like that is, they, for me, epitomize what micro brands should be. Is really pushing the boundaries from a design point of view, not worrying too much around the horological side of the watches, because that costs an insane amount of money, but just creating a really stunning product. And I feel like they do that. Fair pricing, stunning product, and the movements are absolutely fine, in line with the pricing. Oh man, A. Lange & Zone. This is the first brand that has to go up in would buy. I am obsessed with A. Lange & Zone. I'm not sure if there is a watch from them that I wouldn't buy if I had the money. They're 1815. Their watches are just gorgeous. I feel like they are one of the best brands out there. Now, Panerai are struggling. I do like the product. I think the watches are good-looking watches, but the sizing and the offering just feels dated. And I honestly don't understand how the brand is still around, because I don't see anyone wearing Panerai. I don't see people particularly talking about Panerai, and although the product is nice, it's just not of now. I'm gonna have to put you in disciplinary. They pretty much have one watch design and they just adjust it a little bit, and that's not enough. You need to do more. Patek is very interesting. They do have some absolutely gorgeous watches. Do they have enough to go in outstanding? I don't think they do, but they are absolutely gorgeous. So Cartier is an interesting one because their watches are beautiful, iconic, like legitimately iconic, but the price point is high. But then the watches are, I've done a video on this, the watches do kind of blur over into jewelry, and then at that point it's just a matter of getting the product, so the price doesn't then become a factor. So I guess they're meeting expectation. Citizen. Massive fan of Citizen. My whole family's, not my whole family, me and my dad, both our watch journey started with the Citizen. So I kind of feel like they're meeting expectations. They're doing solid watches, like proper tool watches. Glass Future Original. Now, this is an interesting one. I think they should be down. It needs improvement. Their CQ panorama date needs to be smaller. It's a 42mm watch. Absolutely gorgeous. Like, honestly, stunning watch, but it's just too big. So I feel like just with a couple of tweaks, they could really transform the offering. Hamilton, I think they might be exceeding expectation. Their branding and their message is really on point. Not many watch brands get their messaging and their PR and their promotion, their marketing. Not many brands get it right. And or they fall into the trap of, oh, we want to be seen as a luxury watch brand, so let's do things all fancy. Hamilton actually stay within their lane of what Hamilton is, and they do things adventurous. They put on proper adventurous events, and they genuinely sponsor adventurous activities, namely Air Zermatt, which is, I'll do a video on that soon. I think Hamilton product is cool, movements are good, and I think the price is absolutely fair. Breitling's a good one, kind of similar to Tag Heuer. So Breitling, they were in a really weird place. They'd got massively lost compared to the Breitling that I have in my head, being this very sporty, very aviation-based brand. They got all a bit fashionable and big, and I feel like they're bringing that back in line. So right now, I think they still need improvement, but I really like where they're going. Zin's an interesting one. I really like their product from a technical point of view. If you just want a solid, genuine tool watch and you don't want any thrills whatsoever, ignore branding, ignore anything fancy, you just want a really kick-ass product. I kind of feel like Zin is the brand to go to. Bell & Ross, kind of feel like I'm done with Bell & Ross. They've kind of got one watch design and they just, similar to Panerai, they just tweak it, and you need more than that, guys. Ironically, we've got AP coming up. I guess they've got more than one watch design. I think AP perfectly fit within outstanding. Legitimately gorgeous watches, beautifully finished, fair pricing, bloody expensive, but it's within that arena. It's just not for me. So I kind of feel like that's a perfect example of an outstanding watch. Richard Mille, I don't care for Richard Mille. Does that mean it goes in outstanding because it's within line with everything? No, let's just do meet expectations. It's not my thing. Oh man, Jaeger LeCoultre, the watchmaker's watchmaker. I'm going to put them out outstanding. I think the branding needs a bit of work to kind of push it forward, to make it a bit more popular. But then that's one of the sexy things about Jaeger LeCoultre is that they aren't that popular, they aren't mainstream, but the product is gorgeous. I think, yeah, outstanding. Blancpain, now that needs improvement. They have a fantastic heritage. They have some really cool designs. Can't stand the logo on the side of the watch. That's horrendous. They're either too big or too thick or too dated. Right now, I feel like they really need improvement. Hermes. I feel bad putting Blancpain down there and then Hermes up to exceeding expectations. But every time I go to a watch event, a watch show, and I see Hermes, if I was more fashionable or just cooler, then I could imagine wearing an Hermes watch. They have over 100 years of watchmaking behind them. They are a legitimate watchmaker, and their designs are really very cool. IWC, massive fan of IWC. I guess that just goes straight to would buy, because I have IWC and there's more that I want. I do love how they are becoming more and more popular. It's cool seeing a brand beyond the normal cluster, a more watchmaker-focused brand like IWC. It's cool to see that come more into mainstream, and they're just doing some really cool stuff. Girard-Perregaux, massive fan. I'm actually going to say outstanding, simply because of the Laureato. I know they do lots of other watches and they do some really incredibly complicated watches, but the Laureato I feel like is absolutely stunning. The price point is so fair for what it is. The finishing is beyond what I expect from that price point, and just the overall design itself is gorgeous. It feels funny to go from Girard-Perregaux to Christopher Ward. I'll put Christopher Ward at exceeds expectations, purely on a basis of they are just creating a really solid product at a really fair price. All the other watch brands are trying to create stories to justify these crazy prices, whereas Christopher Ward trying to do as much as they can to bring prices down and just create a solid product, and that's pretty cool. Patek Philippe, my God, you guys have had a battering the past couple of weeks. You guys have to be down with needs improvement. It's annoying because I've been a big fan of Patek Philippe. I went into the Patek Philippe salon in London on Bond Street. I was in jeans, I had a hoodie on, had some dirty Timberland boots on, purposefully to see how I was going to be treated. And of all the watch dealers, boutiques, ADs that I've been into, that was the single best customer experience I've ever had. To go from that very humble, very personal experience, very genuine experience, to then read the interview that Terry Stern did in Balance, and to come across in the way that he did, to be so arrogant, has completely changed my viewpoint of Patek. Breguet. Now, Breguet is an interesting one, kind of similar to Blancpain. They have such an epic history. They don't do anything for me from a design point of view. There's elements of their designs that I think are beautiful, but as an overall product, I think maybe I'm just not mature enough to get to the Breguet level. I'm just going to do meeting expectations. They're doing their Breguet thing. Fair play, Breguet. Montblanc, no, you guys are dead. Similar to Frank Muller, which is a shame because I feel like Frank Muller, they really stood out as being a cool watch. Oh no, they're not down at disciplinary. I think Frank Muller just needs improvement. There's something that needs to change about them because they have such an epic styling, which is so obviously theirs. There's certainly cool elements about Frank Muller. Moser. Now, do they go to exceeds expectations or outstanding? I think maybe exceeds expectations. Edward from Moser is such a cool guy. Edward gets involved with the community. He genuinely cares about watches, and he's just a nice guy, and it's not hard to be a nice guy. You don't have to be an arse just because you're the head of one of the biggest watch brands in the world. Moser, that's how you run a decent watch brand. And the product is genuinely gorgeous, beautifully finished. Not my cup of tea, but as a product, I think is absolutely fair. Nevada Grinchen, really cool watches. I'd say, I think they fit within the Baltic realm of just creating genuinely good looking watches. Longines, I feel like they are on a really cool trajectory. That's been a slow turn, but I feel like they've gone from being a shopping mall brand to just really going down this route of creating gorgeous watches. They do a bit of the pilot watch stuff. They do a bit of the kind of more sporty side of JLC, just in a more affordable package. I think they're exceeding expectations. I'm a massive fan of Longines. Grand Seiko. Now, Grand Seiko is a tricky one for me. I feel like they make a really good product, make a fantastic product. Like technically, I feel like the designs are just always a little bit funny. But then that's Grand Seiko. Maybe that just means that they're meeting expectation is because they're sitting within the Grand Seiko realm. Zenith. Massive fan of Zenith. There's absolutely a whole cluster of Zenith that I would buy. I dislike their pilot watches. And I'm not a massive fan of the hyperactive ADHD sub-dial that they have. But the chronographs, oh my God, they're gorgeous. Swatch. Now, Swatch were very clever with the Moon Swatch. They were very clever with that Blancpain Scuba 50 Fathoms. I think that has to be exceeding expectations. Now, Hublot. Based on who this video is kind of triggered off, Nico.
Hublot's f***ing Hublot.
This might upset him. Especially as I did a video talking about why I understand why Hublot are so hated. But I feel like Hublot have turned a corner. There's so many of their watches that I would actually quite like. And I think I would buy one. I think I'd have to put Hublot into would buy. They're not exceeding expectations. They're not outstanding. I just think they're cool. Now that they've got their movements in-house, their designs are kind of toned down from the ridiculousness. Yeah, I do quite like Hublot. Bremont, shit. From love down to just sheer disappointment. Seiko needs improvement. Why? I know that might piss a few people off because Seiko is seen as, if you have a small budget and you just want a solid watch, go to Seiko. I feel like those days are over. Raymond Ville. I feel like they still need improvement, but they're on a brilliant trajectory. People are talking about them. They've got some really good designs coming out. I feel like they're going to be on a similar trajectory to Longines, just a little cheaper than Longines. Greubel Forsey. Big fan of Greubel Forsey. I'm going to put them at outstanding. If I had the money, I wouldn't necessarily buy them. Now, Omega. Now, I have criticisms about Omega. Their pricing, I feel, is punching quite high at the moment. However, as someone who actually owned an Omega, got a White Dial Seamaster, and I have plans to get more, I can only feel like I have to put them in would buy, because I have bought and I will buy more. Zodiac. Are they exceeding expectation? I think maybe they are. So many watch brands get stuck in the rut of just doing really serious watches. And I feel like Zodiac were one of the first brands to suddenly bring in massive, not just pops of colour, but massive splashes of colour. And that's It's fun. It looks good. Legitimately looks good. Rolex, arguably the king of watches. I truly believe that they make some of the best value watches. I know that sounds ridiculous, but if you buy one of their watches at retail, it will legitimately last you forever. It will outlast you. Their watches are so well made. They aren't haute horology, and they're not priced haute horology wise. They just make seriously reliable watches. And so I would put them in outstanding, but as someone who owns Rolex and has plans to buy more, I put them into would buy. Is the would buy thing more like the Top Gear Cool Wall? Well, actually, if you own it, it makes it bad. It makes it uncool. I guess this isn't a cool thing, is it? Oris now. I'm a big fan of Oris. I would say they're meeting expectations. I'd say for a long time, Oris were exceeding expectations. I guess I just have high expectations of Oris because I love what they do. But I want to see more. Balm and Mercier. Now, they have watches that I have no interest in, but their Riviere is absolutely fantastic. And I wonder why it doesn't get more attention, because it really is gorgeous. It's just a kick-ass watch. I guess they're meeting expectations, not exceeding them. Tudor. Big one. It's been amazing how they've managed to transition from the underperforming, quiet sister brand to Rolex to suddenly being catapulted into being one of the front runners, one of the most loved brands within the watch community. And they go beyond the watch world now, and they've really come out on top. I think I'm going to have to put it in would buy. I would buy a Tudor. If Tudor were to launch a Pelagos 39, matte dial or normal Pelagos with a Metas movement, updated watch, I would get it. Vacheron Constantin. I do love Vacheron. Their 1921 is absolutely stunning. The Overseas is stunning. The Everest is stunning. Yeah, I would, if I had the cash, I would buy Vacheron. Right, I've got an expensive shopping list there, haven't I? A. Lange & Söhne, IWC, Zenith, Hublot, Omega, Rolex, Tudor, and Vacheron. Guys, let me know what you think. 1, what brands did I miss? And 2, what do you think of my cluster? It is funny seeing Hamilton between Patek and Moser and Swatch and Zodiac being in that lineup. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think of my placement of these brands and whether my opinions are wildly wrong. If you want to check out the watch straps that we sell over at barkandjack.com, we have a whole cluster of watch straps that will fit all of your watches. And we've got a whole load of colours as well. Jump over to barkandjack.com and check out the straps we have over there. If you're on Instagram, give me a follow at barkandjack. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you like the style of this video, then hit the subscribe button down there and that little bell icon so you get notifications when I drop a new video. And I think that's it. This has been fun. Take care.